So many people ask, how do I know if I'm eating the right diet? What is the highest vibrational diet for me? I asked my Pleiadian priestesses if they would be willing to say more about this, and they said they would. A high vibrational diet is one that supports all aspects of your being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. There are many who opt to only look at the spiritual aspect of life, and they wish to see things that are simply untrue. The origin of a soul has much to do with what is most aligned in terms of diet. Are your emotions in a balanced state? Do you feel grounded? Are you able to be centered throughout your day? The body must feel safe in order for you to reach to higher realms, to seek those answers and those beings that lie beyond the physical. Hello, everyone. My name is Eluña. I am an Akashic channeler and a psycho-spiritual healer. And this week, I really wanted to look at the topic of food. It has been coming up so much for people during readings that I hold, and it also came up in last month's live Q&A that I held. One of the people in my circle membership asked a question about the nature of the origins of souls. So she was really asking a question about, what does it mean for a soul to come from a certain place? How does that impact the life when you are living it on Earth, etc.? And my guides who came through, the Pleiadian priestesses, they answered with a very interesting set of examples about how a soul's origin affects life on Earth. And one of the examples they used was about food. I became very curious about this. I had not heard about how food is actually impacted by a soul's origin. So essentially they were saying that dietary preferences and also certain types of food are better suited to certain souls based on where they come from. I had never heard that before, and I became very curious. So I actually chose to sit down after that Q&A with my members. I chose to sit down and just look more into that and ask them about my own journey with food and where I have come from, essentially, with my soul's origin and how that's related to the food that I currently eat and that I have eaten throughout my life. So the first thing that they explained to me is that certain souls, those who are of human origin, so if a soul originates from Earth, as in this is the place where they have had their incarnations and they have not experienced incarnations on other planets off of Earth, then they tend to require more dense food. Dense foods, they explained to me, are foods that are deeply grounding and that hold a lot of the same type of energy as the physical body. So these include animal products, meat products. Those tend to be very dense in their energy and dense in their actual structure. The molecular structure, the structure of proteins, for example, is very dense compared to the structure of plant proteins. So, that is something that human souls tend to need more of, and they tend to eat more food that is dense because their body is asking for it. So they also explained that this is shifting because of what is happening on Earth at this time, because of the change in energy and the evolution that humanity and Gaia is going through. Beings do not require as dense of foods. And in fact, eating lighter foods can be more helpful to be acclimated to the energies that are now coming on the planet. My guides explained to me, during my childhood, I did need to eat more dense foods. So this is partially because my parents, their soul origins, one of them is from Earth. So I have a human, my soul is half human in this incarnation. It's half human and then half of a starseed. So my soul itself, it does not originate from Earth, but the coming together of those two souls, which then created this body, is half and half. if that makes sense. So they explained that to me. And the other aspect that contributed to my needing dense food as a child was just that my home life was rather ungrounded. It wasn't a very stable place as a child. And so my body did require physical grounding because it was kind of the only place that I could get grounding. So I did eat meat growing up. And I really also didn't have a choice as a child. I didn't really get to choose if I ate meat or not. I do remember learning as a child people who chose not to eat meat. And when I learned about that, I really was curious. That had never even occurred to me as an option, that you just didn't need to eat meat. I thought that you had to. And when I learned about that, it really started to sit with me more. Do I really want to eat meat? When a plate would come in front of me and there would be some type of animal protein on it, I would see the animal that I was eating, and that made it really difficult to eat my food. But I did need to. Again, I didn't have a choice in the food that I ate, and my guides explained that it really was very necessary for my body and actually for my nervous system to have the dense grounding of food that meat provides. So that is what I ate. When I got older, though, after I was out of my house and had moved out, the thought returned to me again of, do I still need to eat meat? And that is during a time when I was really in a space of exploration and experimentation. And I was able to try different meals, different diets to see how my body responded. So I went through a whole bunch of different diets that I won't list off here, but what I ended up landing on was a vegetarian diet that also included eggs at certain times. So I was vegetarian. Some people call it ovotarian if you eat eggs, and vegetables. So I was vegetarian who ate eggs for 10 years. That was the only thing I ate. I did not miss meat or think about it at all. It suited me very well. And interestingly, and very surprisingly, it was when I started channeling for clients that my body started to ask for meat again. This seems very contradictory, and I was very surprised by it. And this is one of the questions that I had for my guides. They explained that, again, because of my body needing denser foods based on my parents, when I started channeling, I needed to have very deep grounding. It is very easy for me to leave my body. It is very easy for me to go out. And in fact, I find it very enjoyable to not be fully grounded in my body. But my body needs me and I need my body. And so one of the ways, and really what my guides explained, the most efficient way for me to do that was to eat meat. So when I started working with clients in the very beginning, a few years ago now, especially when I would do energy clearings for people, I just wasn't aware of how to keep my energy to myself. I was still learning. I didn't know how to use universal energy to do clearings. And when I would do readings for people, it was simply a really big exchange because I was leaving my body and going out into the astral and going into the Akashic records. It just uses a lot of energy. and in the beginning, my body was still acclimating, so I needed denser foods. So I ate meat. And that really has shifted. That ended up evolving. I now really know how to hold energy. I can hold a lot of energy. I don't lose energy anymore when I'm doing readings or when I'm doing clearings for people. And so my diet has shifted, and my guides have explained that that's very natural. That's, again, because of what the earth is going through at this time, and because of what the collective humanity is going through at this time. The evolution is such that people will start to orient toward lighter foods. Now, here's what's interesting. Some people, whether they have a human soul or not, may find that eating lighter foods, such as anything that does not include animal products, they actually may be more ungrounded. So I was asking my guides about this, of what does that mean, and basically how can people know what would be best suited for them? They explained that if you are eating, let's say, a plant-based diet, but you are finding that you are mentally or emotionally overwhelmed or unclear, you may want to try incorporating a piece of meat of whatever it is that you choose into your diet. They did explain that the origin of the meat, so if it is sourced properly, if it's a land-based animal, then something that is raised humanely, they said that the ideal circumstance is if it is a land-based animal, that it is wild. It is a wild animal that lives in its natural environment, and that's what you're eating. But if not, then eating wild caught seafood of some kind is what they said is really the best for people every once in a while. They said that this can just be helpful for the body and the nervous system to have something to basically tether to feel grounded to the earth. So that's really the idea. And they said, if that is something that does not feel good, or that simply for any reason does not work for you to be consuming meat, but you still feel unclear or overwhelmed or ungrounded in general, then the next option would be to eat very grounding plants. So they mentioned basically a bunch of root vegetables, beets, onions, carrots, things that grow in the earth and that are surrounded by earth are also deeply grounding. So these are just important things to keep in mind, and they are some tips that I wanted to leave you with. And I did want to just bring them through to ask more questions about this, because so many people ask about, how do I know if I'm eating the right diet? How can I tell if my body is adjusting well? What is the highest vibrational diet for me? So I asked my Pleiadian priestesses if they would be willing to say more about this, and they said they would. So I'm just going to bring them through and see what they have to say. A high vibrational diet, as it is called on earth, is one that supports all aspects of your being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. There are many who opt to only look at the spiritual aspect of life, and they wish to see things that are simply untrue, such as only eating a certain type of diet that supports a spiritual life. Some see this as a raw diet because if they are eating raw food, then they are closer to the pure energy of earth. This is true for some beings. As has been mentioned, the origin of a soul has much to do with what is most aligned in terms of diet. Not all beings are the same. Not all beings are meant to eat the same food. If you would like to learn what is in the best or highest alignment for your own self, then you must tune into your body, listen to it after you have eaten foods, and ask it questions before you eat certain foods. We will give examples. Asking a question while holding a certain type of food and asking the body, is this something that you would like to eat? Or is this something that will support you? Or is this something that will nourish my body? Asking these questions and listening by feeling into your body to feel for an answer is what we recommend. An answer will feel like an upliftment in the heart, a lightening feeling that affects the entire body. You may get goosebumps on your arms or over your body. You may feel a sense of clarity in the mind. Any answer, sensation, or feeling that you would list as positive is a response to this question that says that yes, it is helpful. Any feeling, sensation, or answer that feels like it is heavy or negative in some sense is telling you, no, this is not helpful for you. This is one way that the body works to share its intelligence with you. This is one way that the body works with you as a teammate. Another way of understanding what is helpful for you at this time is to consider your emotional state. Are your emotions in a balanced state? Do you feel grounded? Are you able to be centered throughout your day? Are you able to return to a centered space after some kind of upset or emotional turmoil has been experienced? If the answer is no to these questions, then you may find it supportive to shift your diet, to bring in foods that are more helpful for your emotional state. If you are finding that you are having difficulty with joy, feeling uplifted, being in a sunny mood, then eating foods that support this will be helpful, such as citrus, brightly colored foods, or other lighter foods that tend to be juicy and tend to be on the sweeter side, such as fruits. If you are finding that you are feeling ungrounded, unstable, then you may find it helpful to eat denser foods. Dense foods such as those that grow in the ground or through the dirt will be most beneficial for you. Experiment. Ask your body what is most beneficial. If you are finding that your mental body is unstable, is flighty, is feeling unclear, or that your thoughts are moving at a rapid pace, eating foods that support this body will be helpful for you. Foods that support mental clarity include leafy greens, certain types of fruits such as berries, or other compound fruits. Compound fruits, fruits that are composed of multiple flowers such as raspberries, pineapple, sunflower seeds. These will be helpful. If you are finding that your mental state is unclear due to a lack of blood flow, which may result in you yawning or feeling that you have cold hands and feet, then increasing fibrous vegetables will be beneficial, as well as red vegetables. All of these will support your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and ultimately affect your nervous system. These aspects of your being are the first to tend to in the earth realm. The 3D is your first priority. It is the place that you look to first, that you have sorted, organized, well-maintained, and balanced. If having a routine supports you in this balance, then give this to yourself. Having a diet that supports these aspects of being are what will support you to connect to the realms beyond the physical. The body must feel safe, nurtured, supported, and fully grounded in order for you to reach to higher realms, to seek those things, those answers, and those beings that lie beyond the physical and beyond the 3D. Thank you, sisters. My energy stays with me. Your energy stays with you. Well, I certainly hope that you found that helpful. I will have to listen back for the actual examples, but I did not expect to receive actual examples of things, so that is very helpful. I hope that you find this supportive and that you are open and willing to give your body and all of your bodies exactly what they are asking for. I am sending my love. May you remember your magic today.